All right, we're back. Sorry, we had some brief technical issues, but we're back. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, January 17th Board of Selectmen's meeting. We are going to start this evening with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, I'm right about to sneeze. I think it's passed. Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
It'll come back.
So do we have anyone here this evening for citizens input? No? Christina, I don't think we did receive quite a few things this week about trash, and we're going to talk about that next item. So I don't think that we have anything that was sent in, though, that we need to read. Okay, so with that, we're going to move right on to the 705 item, which is the select board awareness of the issue with the trash provider. When I had created the agenda, I had wrote no public comment regarding the trash will be heard at this meeting, not because we don't want to hear about the trash or we don't know about the issue, because this is probably not necessarily the right place to air your grievances about the trash provider. The trash provider in town is a private contract that each person in town makes with the provider. Now, we do know that there are a couple of issues right now. So besides there being, kind of price issues with the entire industry, there is currently only one provider in town who is taking new customers. So there was another provider in town, which was Dover Trucking. I know I see, or I used to see the trucks go up my street. I know some of my neighbors use them, and they were bought by E.L. Harvey, who is now not taking new customers. So there is more than one option in town right now, but as I understand, that other hauler is not taking new customers. We also understand that there are some customer service and pricing issues with one of the vendors. So, as people began comparing bills, there's different rates being charged, people being charged for items, maybe incorrectly, calling there, not getting resolution, and not being able to get really questions answered. So, the Board of Selectmen are here to advocate for citizens, and that's what we're doing. We can't force someone to come and get in business in this town, just like when we wanted a bakery. As much as we said we want a bakery, we would love a new trash provider to come offer services in town, but it is a private market, and we can't, force a business to come into town or offer to new customers. Of course, they'll be licensed by the Board of Health as a licensed hauler, but we do, we encourage companies to come here. So with that said, we know there are a lot of issues, and there have been a lot of discussions that have happened, even before this all kind of blew up. I know Bill got in touch with someone over at Win Waste. Christina did a lot of work calling all the carriers, the trash providers, confirming if they're taking new counts or not. I had reached out to Representative Barros, as well as I actually had a conversation with Senator Feeney today, because this is probably bigger than Foxborough. Like, a lot of towns are feeling this pressure with the price of trash, recycling. Even, gosh forbid, you got to get rid of a mattress. It's really expensive. So I wanted to talk to some of our state leaders about the issue with the trash industry as a whole and what they can do. And I know that Senator Feeney did get on the phone as well and talk to some other state branches to I think it's already on everyone's radar, but it's really coming to a head. So with that said, we are very much aware of the issue and are certainly advocating any way we can. I know I've heard some people toss around, let's get back in the trash business as a town. And we actually just had a committee look at that just last year. I'm not sure what month it was, but Steph was a part of that committee. Mm-hmm. So, periodically we have looked at that. Is it something we want to bring back, into taxes, and the town runs that program? But, where it was $2 million in the budget 10 years ago, I'm just guessing with the cost of trash services, we might have to find $8 million. And it's not as easy as opening a trash transfer station, or, just like people have said we should go in the municipal light business. They're great ideas, but really hard and expensive to put into practice. So anything to add, Steph, that your committee did earlier in the year? I know you looked at a number of things because of the same feedback we'd heard.
Exactly. But, it was funny because there was a survey sent out. We really didn't get there weren't really a lot of complaints. And believe me, I'm not advocating for the trash companies, but, I saw some of the comments on social media, and, some of them are like, I'm getting charged a gas fee now, and, so, I mean, what I would say is, and believe me, I'm not advocating for them, I'm paying that fee like everybody else, but I think we all have to just be wary that I don't think anybody is I'm not sure that the trash companies are doing anything wrong. I think costs, what we pay for gasoline ourselves, when we fill up our tank. I hear it all the time in the restaurant. People come in and say, why is this so high now? And I think to myself, do you go to the grocery store or do you see what things cost? So, I mean, we could, if need be, we could maybe get the band back together at some point and see if we could have some discussions. At the time when we talked about it, correct me, Bill, I mean, I don't really remember some people were asking if the town would start to get involved with the trash, collecting the trash, but that's, I know in Stoughton, where I grew up, but they've been doing it forever. You can throw anything out there, but it's not like you just snap your fingers and the town, and it costs a lot of money.
Right.
So
It's a very expensive proposition for many different reasons. One of the fact, insurance-wise, it's probably one of the most expensive classifications there is.
Yeah.
But on top of that, just if you don't have a contract with a waste disposal facility these days on a regional basis, it's very expensive. So you have to. So those are some of the big plays against that.
Yeah, the trash companies are probably feeling the same pressure when they, dump the truck. So, that was was that in 2022? It was within the last.
It was in the past year.
It was in the last year.
It was in the past year. I guess if we could kind of let this play out a little bit. I hate to say it, but the cost going up a little bit, I think we've seen that with just about everything across the board. So I don't really think it might be an issue for people thinking, I was paying this and now I'm paying that. I know there were some discussions about different people paying different amounts, but I think how you put it, Leah, we don't have any control over that. Maybe at some point, and if Bill's already reached out to them, we could advocate, but I just don't really know how much we could really do to solve what's going on now.
You're both correct. There's not a lot we can do. I have reached out to them, spoken to them directly, and spoke to their vice president of community government relations, and they're actually very responsive to us. But I've just tried to convey the message to them that we are really concerned about their public service, or actually their customer service rather, and that we really want to make sure that even if the prices are going to go up, they need to do a better job of communicating that to folks so people clearly understand why. They've given me some reasons why, but they really need to communicate that to their public, to their customers, and not let us do that for them. So it's really something that they're well aware at this point, and they are taking steps to try and rectify that.
And that they had drafted something, so they're definitely feeling the pressure. They had let us know about an email specifically for Foxborough residents, and there was a communication drafted. I don't know, has anyone seen it go out yet?
Well, like I said, I'm not advocating for the trash people. I can only speak for myself as a resident here using Win. My trash pickup is great. The guys are great. If they see me, if I forget and I'm heading out, they will meet me halfway up the driveway, grab the barrel. And I did get in one of my bills, I did see a letter explaining that the price was going up and that it was because of gas. So I can only speak for myself. I know a lot of the social media said they weren't aware, they weren't given any notice, but I can only speak for myself. I don't have a problem with my trash pickup, but I'm not saying anybody else does, but I just want to make that clear as well. Do I like paying the extra money? No, but I think I understand why. So not advocating for them at all before people start emailing me that I'm sticking up for them. I'm not, but I can only speak from my experience.
Yeah, so I think, really to summarize it, we know that there's some customer service issues. We've reached out to advocate. They've promised us they're going to do better. We've talked to some of our state, House of Representatives and Senate leaders about what they can do to advocate, like with, Massachusetts DEP or others. Those conversations are ongoing. And we have evaluated, what our stance is for trash. Do we want to be in the trash business or out of the trash business? and it's a tough business. And to try to take that on at town hall at this point, imagine town hall taking all we'd need another 2 bodies, for billing and complaints and, all that. So I don't, based on that committee that got together, I'm not sure that it's as easy as bringing it back in-house or something,
No,
that we have
there
an
was a
appetite to do.
lot of good discussion about it, but I will say at the time, there was a survey that went out, and there really weren't a lot of complaints.
They weren't.
Did you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say, I thought the prices were high, and I thought they were even higher with the increase. Having said that, needs to be a little context here where, how does it stand with other communities in terms of the cost of trash collection? That might be helpful in terms of getting some information out to the
Well,
community.
it's sort of a mixed bag, Dennis, because some communities actually have contracts with companies, and they're locked into those prices, so they can't really adjust them that much. This is strictly an open market system here when you come to Foxborough. Now, I will tell you, in Norfolk, for instance, I think the Liz had told me, they have the same setup as we do. And she said their
lot of people
prices,
use
their
Dover
prices
there,
went
right?
up as well. So,
Yeah.
so it's not like we're being singled out here in Foxborough. It was a similar scenario which she's experiencing in another community.
And even if we get other rates, keep in mind, this is a private
No,
contract, yeah.
I get it, it's a free market.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully we have, that's the third thing really is, we all here are encouraging and, willing to work with any vendor that wants to come in town. We're quite frankly begging you to have more competition and, maybe we can keep in touch with E.L. Harvey too and see what their strategy is for taking on new customers as well.
Right.
And with that said, it seems like in the trash business, they sell their businesses very often to other people, so, it could be a month from now, it could be somebody else, 6 months from now, it could be somebody else, so I would say that it's would be hard to just narrow on what's going on right now, so.
I can tell you that in the 40 years I've been doing this, and my colleague to the right of me probably said the same thing, that we have experienced, it's a cyclical type of business, and some companies get very big, and then all of a sudden, small guys come up and say, I'm gonna beat their price, and then the new guys come on for a while, and then they get swallowed up by the bigger companies, and it just becomes cyclical, and we're in that stage right now where a lot of the bigger companies have taken over, so there aren't as many small guys, but I do think that's gonna change, because it typically does, because the market drives that scenario.
All right, great. Any discussion from the board?
I would just like to comment that, so we did just have an assessment last year, and the assessment said basically that pricing and service in town is competitive and it's fair. But I just want to be careful of making sure that we continue to listen to the community, understand what they're saying about the service they're receiving, and continue to take that feedback, because it sounds like it's a very volatile industry with companies changing hands and players moving in and out. So I just want the community to understand that we're going to continue to listen and understand what the needs are and what the challenges are, so that we may need to assess this again sooner rather than later, maybe next year or maybe sooner than that, if we continue to have service and price issues, particularly if we do a little digging and understand that there's opportunities to have either better service pricing or a combination. So we're going to be listening.
And keeping in touch with our state leaders
Yes.
too. I think that's, as much as they can help influence kind of from the top down, the industry will be crucial as well.
Yep,
Okay,
thank you. Same to you.
all right, great. All right. So we're going to move on to introducing, I said to Liz, we have our new HR director, Liz, here, just to follow the trash discussion. We're happy to introduce our new Human Resources Director, Liz Buetow, who is here after completing, how many weeks are we at? You started, what, January 3rd, is that
Yes,
right?
week 3.
Week 3, wow, time's flying by.
It truly is, yes. Well, good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. Thank you for inviting me this evening to share a little bit about my background. Again, my name is Elizabeth Buetow. I'm the new Director of HR, and a role that I'm truly grateful and excited for, so thank you very much. Prior to joining the town, I had the privilege of serving as the Director of Human Resources for the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office and the Disabled Persons Protection Commission for the Commonwealth. In my first few weeks, I received a warm welcome by all and have met with department heads to discuss how I can best support them and their teams in my new role. Over the next few months, my focus will be on supporting my peers and team members during the new town manager transition, acclimating myself to process, policies, procedures, and software specific to the town, recruitment for summer hiring for the rec department at DPW, and meeting with the personnel board, evaluating training needs, HR process improvement, and I'm sure much more as we go through this process. Again, I'm very thankful for this opportunity and to be able to work with such wonderful and talented and dedicated individuals. So thank you very much.
We're really excited to have you here. You bring a great energy that I think is great to have in Town Hall. And I think you seem like you're going to be a great cultural fit for the building as well. I know Liz a little bit better because I participated in the interview process, so I'll see if you guys have any questions.
No questions, just a comment. Happy to have you. I got the opportunity to meet at the town manager's breakfast that unfortunately Bill was unable to attend.
Well, I never
But,
ate at.
you know,
Everyone got
and-
to meet Liz there. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, and,
It was a good
you know,
time.
and to chat in your office for a couple of minutes last week, and, you know, good job, Leah. Delighted. I'm happy to have you, and I'm sure the whole community will be.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
I won't ask you for an assessment after 2 weeks of being on the job. And I won't ask you about collective bargaining either. My colleagues probably thought that's where I was going to go. Just in terms of your own personal philosophy in human resources, what's the most important priority that you would look at yourself coming in?
That's a great question. I think it's important to build credibility, trust, and relationships within the town and the team. I think that to have open communication, to have an open door, and the ability to really, truly listen to the needs of the staff here, that's my number one priority. And my philosophy as an HR professional is to truly listen. And I think that that's an art that's sometimes forgotten, but extremely important in my role. And the staff to feel heard by me in my role, and to be able to apply that to the work that they do.
Great answer. Like I teed it up for you.
You guys never talked beforehand, right?
Thank you so much.
I can tell you, unless some of the board members have anything they want to say, I'll wait.
Just want to welcome you. 2 times I've met you. You've got a great personality, and I think you're going to be a great fit for Foxborough.
Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
I would just add that I've gotten good feedback from the leadership team already. I've talked to a couple of people, so.
It's a
Awesome. Glad to
fantastic
hear.
team. Thank you so much. It truly is.
So Liz is an active listener, which is something that is truly an art form. And I'm really grateful that she has that skill, because that is really important to HR work. And I think she brings a lot of energy. I think that's a good way of saying it, Leah. She does bring a lot of energy to the role. And the staff reaction so far has been tremendous. So I'm really glad that it's worked out the way it has, and that we ended up with a really good selection. So best of luck to you, and continued good efforts in the town that you've started in. So
Thank you so much, Bill.
welcome.
Yeah, once you've settled in, we're eager to hear what, your thoughts and kind of where you'd like to take the organization. So,
Looking forward to it.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
all right, wonderful. Thanks a lot, Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Liz.
All right, great. So moving on, we are at Skipjack's, and I think I saw someone on Zoom from Skipjack's. Yes. I just see Katie up here. All right, Justin, before we get started, we're just going to make sure you can hear us and we can hear you. So can you just tell us your name?
I can hear you perfectly.
We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So you can hear us. Now let's see if we can hear you. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. All right. Good. So-
Excellent. Wonderful.
All right, so I know you're on Zoom. You do have the full 5-member Board of the Selectmen here in person, and we understand that you're here for a change of manager application. We all do have the application here in front of us, but if you can just tell us a little bit, Justin, about yourself and the application that's in front of us this evening.
Sure. I've been the bar manager, assistant general manager at Skipjack's for the last 8 years now. Our general manager, who the license was the name on the license, he left, so we're transferring it over to myself. Yeah, pretty simple there.
All right, great. Well, if you've been there for 8 years, I know Pete has big shoes to fill, but sounds like
He very much does.
Yeah, so everyone knows Pete. So, yeah. So any questions from the board? On the
He has trained us very well, so.
He runs a tight ship from what I see as a customer. Any questions
Very
from the
much so.
board on the application?
No, look good to me.
No, I think it makes us feel good that, you've been there and have been on site. So it seems as if there's no questions from the board. So with that, I think we're ready for a motion on the change of manager application.
Motion to approve a change of manager for Big Tuna LLC, doing business as Skipjack's, from Peter Dowd to Justin Hunter.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Good luck.
You're all set, Justin. Good luck, and wish Pete best of luck for us if you speak to him.
I absolutely will. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
You too, thank you. All right, great, and we are exactly to the minute on time for Bob and Claudine. Just Bob, okay. So if you want to come up, we have a couple items for you, cover them in whatever order works for you, and,
Well, I think the first one's a public hearing, so you have to take
oh,
that
okay, so
on
we will
time.
take, never mind, scratch that. All right, so we'll have Dennis read the public
That's
hearing
it.
notice.
Okay. Motion to open the public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 25B, to opt out of early voting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So just a little background on this. In June of last year, the legislature passed a bill, election law changes, to basically bring the 2022 by mail voting and early voting, in-person early voting, to a permanent situation. If you remember, in 2020, we also had by-mail voting for the town election because of the pandemic. So in that bill, basically, for any federal or state election, we're required to offer by-mail voting for the voters, as well as in-person early voting. They do allow towns, cities and towns, to opt out of by-mail voting for town elections, and it has to be a vote of your board. So in your packet, I believe I gave to Christina a breakdown of the last 5 years for ballots cast in town elections, how many absentee ballot requests were made, and any early ballot requests. So the only year we had the early ballot available was during the 2020 pandemic year. And if you see from that breakdown, essentially the absentee ballot requests and the early ballot requests were very similar. So, and historically in Foxborough, we do not get a lot of absentee ballot requests. I don't know why. But even in the big elections, typically, like the presidential elections, we trail far behind most communities. I think basically the voters in Foxborough like to go to the polls. That's my reading of that. So the reason why I've asked is to bring this forward. In the bill, in the legislation, the state requires us to opt out, as opposed to the in-person early voting. They require an opt-in. So we're trying to do it early in the cycle because the state has already set up the election calendar in there, in the VRIS. It will show that we're going to have by-mail voting. But my feeling is we don't get a lot of requests for that. And anybody that still would like to vote by mail, they can request an absentee ballot. They're essentially the same process. And the main reason why I'm asking that we do that, one of my colleagues had prepared this little diagram. So for the voting process prior to vote by mail, it was a three-step process. The voter checked in, they marked the ballot, and then they dropped it in the voting box. The by-mail process has become a 12-step process, and actually, it's more like 15. So the time associated with processing a by-mail ballot is pretty significant, and it's an office of 3 people. So, we brought in election workers to help during the by-mail for the 2020 and the 2022 as much as we could, but most of it was done by us in overtime and that. So, so my request is that we have you vote to eliminate the by-mail for the town election. We don't have the option for the other elections.
Okay.
Just the town election.
So this is just for our May 1st town election, and from what I understand, people can still cast absentee vote ballots.
Correct.
We're only here for the early ballot request, and just to let everyone at home know what we're looking at the stats from, May 18 through May 22, town elections, and although at the height of the pandemic, we did have a spike of 339 early ballot requests for June 8th, 2020, there were actually no early ballots for the other 4 elections that are in front of us. So that's an accurate kind of
Correct.
summary and assessment there.
Correct. And what's interesting about the 2020 is we had almost 1,500 voters, and we had 650 either absentee or by mail requests for a mail ballot. So not even half of the people used the by mail process during we were at the height of the pandemic
Right.
back in June of 2020. So a lot of people still came and voted in person. So, I think that we were able to handle the absentee, and anybody that wants to do that still has the ability, but we've seen over the last few years since the pandemic that people still come to the polls. In fact, a lot of people who request early ballot, mail-in ballots, will come to vote in person here when we have the vote in person and not return the ballot. So that's the other thing, is a lot of processing that we do that never actually gets used. So quite a significant amount.
Go ahead, Doc.
I'm sorry if I missed this. Is this a one-time deal, or will this get us out of all town?
Well, that's up to the board if they decide to do that. I think Christina's provided a motion either way for you.
Both ways.
So it's really the pleasure of the board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have one motion for the May 1st, 2023 election specifically, and then one for any standalone annual town election.
Okay.
What are the requirements, Bob, for an absentee ballot these days?
So the difference with an absentee and an early vote is there's a reason. So typically, you're away or you're sick. So there's 3 reasons that you could ask for an absentee. Typically, most of the time, people are either on vacation or away at school, or they have a surgery planned or something like that. We don't typically ask too detailed, most people, if they can't be there, that's why they're there. People that want to go and vote, show up and vote in person. Now, we typically, if people are concerned, because there is still a lot of things going on, RSV, COVID, and all of that, if they're just nervous about going to the polls because of things like that, we're not going to question that. They have the right to do an absentee ballot.
Right, okay.
Any other comments or questions from this side?
Just how does that differ from the early?
So early is, it's basically called no excuse by mail voting. So you don't have to have a reason.
Oh, okay.
Absentee, you're supposed to have a reason.
And early will still be allowed, and the other elections is just our own town one.
Right, yeah, we have no option with the state and federal elections.
Basically, you're telling us, Bob, you're not going to really turn anybody away from, I mean, with what the world has become and since COVID, if someone just says, I feel uncomfortable because of what's been going on,
Yeah, that's-
you're gonna grant them the
That would
absentee.
qualify under the medical, for an absentee ballot anyways.
And the only other question/comment would be, hopefully, we're not gonna see the likes of what we did, but if things were to change and we feel the need to bring back the early ballot, you could come before the existing board and change it back, if the need. Look, what the statute giving us doesn't look like the need is there.
Right,
But if
right.
something changed, we could readdress it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And, I'm aware that the board changes, and if a future board has a different inclination, that the board can vote to change it back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, voting's really important, I think, to me and all of us, given we ran for elected positions. Seeing the stats, though, with, besides the pandemic year, having zero, I would be comfortable with doing this. I would probably, just since I know we're coming out of the pandemic, but I'd be more comfortable just doing it for this year and then maybe revisiting it once we get back to normal for kind of all elections. That's more where my comfort level is. So.
Just one last thing.
Yeah.
Do we have a record, or are we aware of any absentee ballots that were declined and they had to move over to early? In other words, somebody had a reason that wasn't,
No,
they didn't, okay, so
No.
virtually not everyone who wanted to vote absentee was able to?
right,
Okay. There.
yeah.
I mean, I'm good with it. Are we good for a motion from the board on, again, I'm just one person. I would kind of take it one election at a time before we kind
Yeah.
of go all in personally. It sounds like we kind of have had shaken. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're ready for we'll close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, and it's the first one.
Yep.
Motion to opt out of early mail-in voting for the May 1st, 2023 annual town election.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Okay.
All right, great. So we're
Perfect.
done with the first of three items.
Thank you.
Although they all kind of obviously tie into elections.
They do, yes. The second one has to do with the voting equipment. Currently, we use AccuVote machines from LHS, and for the last number of years, I've tried to get funding so that we could purchase new equipment. The AccuVote equipment still operates, but the company has changed into new equipment, and they're not going to be supporting the older versions. And so I was able to secure the funding last town meeting. And we started the process in July. I had both companies come in on the same day to present their equipment. There's only two potential choices for voting equipment. There's only two certified by the state. One is the new LHS product, and the other is the ES&S product. I put a team together. I had my two staff, my warden, my assistant warden, and another person, another election worker, all participated in viewing the equipment. After that demonstration, I had each of them send me written reasons why they like one company over the other, one machine over the other. 4 out of the 5 picked the ES&S DS200, and the other person said it was a coin flip. Much of the reasons had to do with the DS200 being a little more sleeker, easier to work with. And there was some concerns about the LHS product because because of the manufacturer. If you recall, after the 2020 election, there was a lot of concern about some election equipment, and one company in particular, Dominion, so the LHS product is a Dominion product. With all of the issues that we've had with voting, that would be another reason. You know, we get a lot of questions all the time from voters, and just, they would question whether or not that was an accurate machine. I think we need to get past that. So after reviewing all of those comments, I work with the purchasing administration, Audrey Strom, Maureen Doherty, and Marie Almodovar. So in working with them, we made the selection of the DS 200s. Bill has signed the contract. So we have to vote to discontinue the use of the AccuVote, and then vote to use the DS 200s.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Does anyone
So,
else?
just because you raised the Dominion issue. So on the merits, you feel that the DS 200s is a superior scanner than the AccuVote OS optical scan?
Yeah, so some of the things, each of them are a little bit of an upgrade from the AccuVote. The LHS was a slight upgrade. I don't know if you recall seeing the machines that we use, but they have a little tiny screen on them. And if there's a problem with the ballot, you don't even see it, really. We have to go over and look at it and see what the problem was and try to figure it out. The LHS product has a little bit bigger screen, but it's still hard to see the ES&S. The screen is right out there. You can see it. The voter knows what's going on. The machines are a little smaller, easier to handle, easier to store. But the big thing in my mind is how do they work? And I did a lot of, I've had a lot of discussions with people who use the ES&S product and also the new LHS product. There's a little bit of a delay with the LHS in processing the ballots, and when you're dealing with early vote ballots, even if it's 3 or 4 seconds a ballot, it just ties up your whole day. We in November, we were really delayed in getting ballots in, and if there's any delay in the machines, it's just going to make it a longer day for everybody, including the voter.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Anyone else? We ready for a motion?
Let's do this.
Okay, we're ready for a motion.
Motion to discontinue the use of the AccuVote OS optical scan voting tabulation equipment and approve the use of DS 200 poll place scanner and tabulator beginning with the May 1st, 2023 annual town election and all future elections subject to the availability of equipment.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, great. And then
Thank
while
you.
we had Bob coming in for election, we couldn't help but do a little PSA about all the positions that are available and the dates. So do you want me to run through those? Do you have them?
I've got it right here.
Okay.
So the first day to pull papers was today, and we actually had 3 people come in and pull papers today. So that was good. So we have 1 position with Board of Selectmen, Board of Assessors, School Committee, Water and Sewer Commissioner, Board of Health, Boyden Library Trustee, there are 2 positions, Planning Board, 2 positions, and 1 5-year term for the Housing Authority. Those are the positions available. The papers can be pulled starting today, and they have to be returned by March 13th.
And I know from personal experience, when I ran, it can be a little bit of an overwhelming process. Thank you, Bob and Claudine. I remember answered a lot of questions for me at that time. And I saw another community, I forget if it was Norwood or Easton, someone else had like an info night for candidates. So I had talked to Christina and said, you know, ask Bob if that's something they would get on board with. So I think that at Town Hall, we may host like a half an hour info night. And then even Dan Peterson from AdCom said, hey, although they're not elected positions, they're also looking for members. So he would like to join that info night too, if someone wanted to learn more about the process, about these positions, if they're not ready yet, if they wanted to go to advisory committee, like I think 3 out of the 5 of us did first. Dan would offer to come and answer some questions there. So Christina, do we have a date picked?
Tuesday, February 7th at
Okay.
6 PM, and we'll hold it in the first floor conference room.
Okay, so Tuesday, sorry, would you say February 5th? 7th, okay, at 6 PM. So if anyone has questions, thinking about doing this, still plenty of time to come in, ask questions. If you're interested in advisory committee, one of the positions that Bob listed tonight, I think we've got a total of 6, 8, 9, 10 positions that are up for election. Swing in, good place to just kind of informally ask some questions and see if it's right for you.
And they're more than welcome to come to the clerk's office at any point. We're very happy to sit with them and go through the process if they have any questions.
All right, great. So Christine, I think you'll roll that out on social media as well, so.
Yep. I might as well announce, the board knows, I did pull my papers. I was one of the 3 that came in to see Bob today.
She was the first one.
Yep.
I won't tell you what time she was here.
Overachiever. But,
We were open when she,
yeah. Well, and something, listen, just because I'm running doesn't mean somebody else can go pull papers as well. I just want to say that it's an honor and a privilege to serve on this board, and as of any of the boards or committees. And I urge people, if you have a feeling, the information night is going to be fabulous, and it's not a thankless job. You get a lot of satisfaction about being part of what's going on in town and doing our best to listen to the residents. So anyhow, I urge people, if you're interested, come that Tuesday night, go see Bob and Claudine and get some information.
Yeah, and we have to do our shameless plug about town meeting is Monday, January 30th. So if you don't want to, run for an elected position, come participate in local government. And the annual election is May 1st, 2023.
town meeting May 8th.
Town meeting May 8th, the week after. Thank you. All right, great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Bob.
everyone.
Thanks, Claudine.
Bob?
Thank you. All right, great. So up next is the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. Bill, I think you taking that one?
Yes. So we held a brief meeting last week to go over 2 items that were, or 3 items actually, that required action by the committee. One was an assessor's vehicle that we need for inspections. There is no vehicle currently, and does require the ability of getting out there in the field to do some formal inspections of property, et cetera. It was a small amount because it's going to be a used vehicle. We're not going to buy anything new to do this. It'll be something that we can get a low-cost type of vehicle. The second was there were 2 public works types projects. One is the Walnut Street Sewer Extension, which we all know we've been trying to gather as much momentum as we can for that project. We've been able to secure up to $4 million from the state. This would give us another would make it 4.5. And then there is, and we're looking to try and get another $500,000 through some way, shape, and form to help secure the $5 million number that we're looking for. I believe it's actually another million, if I'm not mistaken, that's, and Page to see is on as well. So, but we have secured quite a bit of money for this project. This would actually help us get us closer to where we want to be. And we know we've talked a lot about this project. This is one where this would primarily be used for the sewer part. And so therefore, and this is one, this money would come from the county's portion of the ARPA money, which actually in the legislation actually speaks to the fact that sewer is a specific one that's actually allowed by that use of that money. So this is a great use of that money for that purpose. The other one is the Public Works Dams project. The cost of that project has been escalating, as you might expect, over time. This is the West Street Dam, which this would provide us additional funding to actually finish the project this year and get it up and running. So the committee took the time to review all 3 items, and then they voted in favor of all 3 to recommend to the board for consideration. These will not have to go to town meeting because they are because this is federal funding that only requires authority from the Board of Selectmen to approve. So I'm happy to take any questions.
No questions from me, anyone else?
So the vehicle for the assessor's vehicle. That's all it is 12,430.
Yeah, that's the amount of money they're seeking at this point.
But is that going to purchase the whole vehicle?
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Oh,
used
it's a
vehicle.
used
It's a used
vehicle,
vehicle. It's not a new
okay,
vehicle.
okay.
a
Oh, I missed that,
If it
I'm
was new, it'd be a
sorry.
lot more, I can tell you.
I was kind of like, I want to hang with them.
It's a 98 Corolla.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we go. But no,
With 90,000 miles on it, yeah. So,
All right, ready for a motion?
Ready? Motion to approve use of ARPA funds for 2 capital improvement committee projects, including $500,000 for the Walnut Street sewer extension and $375 for dam reconstruction projects, as well as $12,434 in remaining ARPA funds for an assessors department vehicle.
Second.
Under further discussion, I think you just added an extra 300 to that dam, so it's 207,275.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, okay. So any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. So now, the moment everyone's been waiting for. The select board to deliberate and possibly vote on the new Foxborough town manager. So, you know, people may have watched our meeting earlier today. We do have Bernie Lynch here from Community Paradigm as well, who has helped us throughout this entire process. It was such a help. Thank you so much. You know, obviously, I go to Bill a lot for help and guidance with things, but he had stepped out of this, so Bernie and I have spoken quite a bit.
if the board wishes, I'm happy to step out for this discussion too, if you want, if it makes you feel more comfortable. I'm happy to do that too.
I feel comfortable. I don't know if any of you.
Okay,
Okay,
very good.
okay. So, you know, we did issue an RFP. We selected Community Paradigm. We all worked together to help develop the candidate mission statement. We had an awesome screening committee, really involved group who know the town well, and I think kind of know what we're looking for, that helped get us from a pool of 30 candidates down to 4 finalists. We interviewed those 4 finalists over January 10th, January 12th, and then the last one this evening, January 17th. Before that, Bernie had done the background checks and the educational checks and all that. So now we've interviewed everyone, and the public process works in a way that we publicly deliberate as a board on who we would like to move forward with to appoint as the new town manager with Bill retiring. Now, with that said, you know, I think everyone would like, or I would like to, you know, if we're all ready, appoint someone this evening. However, we did post another meeting for tomorrow evening at 6:30 in the case we felt we needed additional time or we're not ready to move forward this evening. So with that, I think I'm ready to move forward with the deliberations. Bernie, I'll probably turn it over to you if you have anything to say. And then if you could just list the four candidates, kind of help summarize them for, you know, people that may not have been able to watch at home, because for fairness in the process, we didn't want the last interviewer to be able to, watch all the interviews that were televised, so they were intentionally kind of withheld for fairness in the process.
Sure. The 4 finalists in alphabetical order, and that was the order that you interviewed them, were John Kadir, who's currently the town administrator in the town of Northborough, and has been for, I think, somewhere in the vicinity of 15 years now in that position. Ted Langill, who is the Chief of Staff and Director of Administrative Services for the town of Weymouth, and has held that position for, I believe, 7 years now. I don't actually have their resumes right up in front of me. The third candidate is Nick Riccio, who had been the building inspector here in Foxborough up until a year or so ago, I believe. He was here for 2 years. Prior to that, he served in similar roles in both Rentham and Mansfield. And in Mansfield, he did have a stint as the interim town manager during a period where they were looking for a new manager. He does have the first 2 candidates have backgrounds in public administration. John has a graduate degree from the University of Connecticut. Ted has a bachelor's degree in public management from UMass Dartmouth. Nick has a law degree, so he comes with that legal background. And then the 4th candidate that you interviewed tonight is Chris Senior. who also is an attorney and is currently the town manager for the town of Cohasset. Again, a position that he's held there for about 8 years. I think that just in sort of a general sense, and obviously the board has their thoughts on each one of the candidates, but those 4 candidates came through that screening process with the screening committee that you selected, a very good group to work with. And they were all candidates that this committee felt could do the job and provided the board with some options as to what you felt was the best fit for the town. In terms of process, I think that you've given a good summary of sort of how we got to where we are. And now my only recommendation is as you go through and deliberate, and it's not easy, obviously, to do all this out in the public, but that's the requirement, that these candidates have to be spoken of publicly. And so what we always recommend is talk about what you like about the candidates and which one you believe would be the best choice for the town of Foxborough. And hopefully over the course of those discussions, some consensus will build up as to who the best candidate will be moving forward to fill the shoes of Mr. Keegan here and move the board's agenda and the town's agenda forward in the most appropriate way.
All right, great. So I think we all would probably agree that we had 4 absolutely wonderful candidates. So really a great pool. I know I've watched some other towns, various things. And it seemed like we got a lot of applications here as well. So there was definitely some interest and 4 really strong candidates that we met with. So I think that everyone here would agree that it is a very difficult choice that is in front of us. And I think all 4 of the candidates could certainly do the job. So we're faced with the difficult discussion of, who is the best for Foxborough. I think we were all coming to terms with the fact that Bill, is leaving us in a few short months. We all take this decision incredibly serious and have spent much time, I'm sure, in these interviews, reviewing packets, doing some digging and thinking as well. So, it would be ideal for us to unanimously, pick a town manager to replace Bill. We'll see where this lands, but I think what we'll do is, as Bernie said, we'll focus on the positive. And, if we want to go down and go through what we liked about the candidates and then see if from there, after that discussion, maybe we'll have a motion to appoint someone as we discuss. And, as I mentioned, we do have more time tomorrow if we do feel rushed, because this is certainly a very important decision and I don't want anyone, to feel rushed making this. So with that said, anyone like to, yes?
Question for process, Leah. A 3-2 vote will be decisive, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, the 3-2 vote will be decisive. However, just like all, discussion is obviously very welcome. It would be ideal if we had the unanimous vote, but we'll see where we land. With that, would anyone like to offer their thoughts first? Go ahead, Dennis. I was gonna say, I'm happy to too, but if anyone wants to go first.
So am I supposed to just talk about one or?
No, if you want to talk about each candidate,
Okay.
what you thought, what you liked about them.
Okay. Thinking about these, and, there's a lot of thought, and there were 4 excellent candidates, which makes our job challenging, but also makes it easier at the same time, because we can't lose by picking any of these candidates.
Good point.
The backdrop of looking at these candidates is that, and I'm the newcomer, so this is, my perspective as a newcomer. I think Foxborough, the town of Foxborough is a very stable environment. And that's really important in terms of making a choice as to a town manager coming in. And these are just my opinions. The labor management climate is very positive. I haven't heard any labor strife at all in the organization since I came into the community. So that's very important in terms of, making sure that that is maintained, not at the expense of richer than needed labor agreements, but just having that labor management relationship. If you don't have it, you know it, in my experience. So that's another criteria. The town is in very good financial condition, you know, to Bill's credit, everything I'm saying to a degree. So that's another factor, that this town's in a stable financial condition. And I thought it was interesting with all four of the candidates, because I know what a major problem OPEB funding is for every town in the state. And very few of them spoke about it, because they don't have as much good to say about OPEB as we do here in Foxborough. So there's a lot of backdrop, you know, and I could go on, but, you know, obviously we don't have time. So I'll start with John Kadir. Comes from a town actually of similar size and actually similar characteristics. I lived out in Westboro for 4 years, so I really got to know Northborough. It's a lovely town, very well run, very well thought of, and the fact that he was there and really did a great job, you know, speaks volumes. He did have collective bargaining experience, which I look for, and as I've asked each of the candidates, at the table experience. You know, not you're part of a team. That's very different. Not that the lawyer was running it and you were part of a team. That's very different as well. So, I'm just going to have to limit what I can say. I thought I was very impressed with his accomplishments, not only in his resume and his references, but he added an additional summary of his accomplishments that I reviewed again today, just to, you know, kind of refresh. And they were all impressive. And they all were very pertinent to the job. So that was kind of what made him stand out. So I'm going to stop there with John, okay? The next one, Ted Langell, Edward Ted Langell. Again, very, very impressive. He also gave us a list of very, very impressive credentials. Collective bargaining experience, comes from a large community with a lot of people relative to Foxborough, and a lot of resources relative to Foxborough. So, you know, he's been doing it, but in a larger organization, and that's something that really obviously has value from a experience point of view. I would, again, personal opinion, I would call him more of a change agent than somebody that's going to come in here and really, obviously facilitate positive change going forward. But there's a difference between going with what's worked here and trying to build on that success versus somebody whose nature is to be a change agent, and he just can't help it, you know. So, you know, I always worry about, and I had this discussion with Bernie once upon a time, you know, the criteria I have always found the most important filling a position is fit. And you don't know you have a bad fit a lot of times until the person gets here. Then you have a problem, you know. So that would be a reservation with Ted. Nick Riccio, actually, I'm pretty direct and pretty honest. He surprised me because I didn't know him. You know, and a lot of you probably know him better than I know him, you know, because he's been here in Foxborough. He was, you know, acting town manager in Mansfield for a time. So he's been around and he's known by people. And he had, you know, really good experience. I was very impressed with how he handled himself. I was very impressed with his answers to the questions. And they weren't just off-the-cuff answers to the questions. They were content-rich, is how I would describe it. When he talked about strategic planning is one of the most important things the town manager can do, work with the board. And he nailed it, you know, in terms of an actual process and structure that was contemporary in terms of, you know, how do you actually do a strategic plan. So I think he'd be a good fit too. I think his personality was very engaging, and I think people would want to work with him and want to be on his team. You know, that was my impression. I know I'm not making this any easier.
You're not giving us any clues here.
No, I'm just saying, I didn't know him at all. And, you know, I didn't think his resume specifically was as impressive as some of the other resumes. But that might be just because, you know, people get help doing resumes. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why resumes don't necessarily pull out the best in a candidate. So that was Nick. Then the last person was Chris, who would be stepping up, you know, in size in terms of Cohasset versus Foxborough. Again, very good background, very good experience and accomplishments. I thought his overall collective bargaining experience, though, was more limited than some of the other candidates, you know. He characterized himself as part of the collective bargaining team, you know, where that's an opportunity. You have to be a leader, you know, when you're doing collective bargaining. That doesn't mean, you know, you don't have a team and you're not going to work with the team and listen to the team. And having the legal input is critical on the team, but you really have to lead that process, you know, and I didn't get that flavor from him. And he talked a lot, and which is no problem, you know, but you know, he has a lot of experience and he was excited and he just wanted to tell us all about him. And I'm not sure of the fit, I guess is what I'm saying, you know, because people are used to Bill's style, and Bill's pretty direct and succinct in his style. And so that's a challenge for anyone coming in, because you're a really good communicator. So that was the only thing with Chris, that he had great stories, and he really talked about a lot of different things he's doing, and he was excited. But, you know, in terms of, you know, the being direct and succinct, and, you know, and that, you know, nerves can be a problem with that. So so he wouldn't have been my top candidate in terms of fit.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'll go next.
Thanks for the warning.
We're all looking.
You know, it's difficult discussing this in certainly an open session. But first thing I'd like to say is to the screening committee, 4 great candidates, absolutely no doubt about it. I think Dennis is right. We can't go wrong. They're all great candidates. One of the things I had mentioned to one of the candidates when they asked, you know, what we're looking for was, you know, to maintain the stability and the leadership that we do have and that Bill fostered over the last 9 years. And the candidate came back said, so in other words, you just don't want us to screw it up. And, you know, to some extent, yeah. We want this to be a smooth transition with, you know, a very strong leadership that they're already going to walk into. You know, and now having said that, I mean, you know, quickly running through the candidates, what I came away with, you know, John, you know, certainly had a strong budget background. You know, so, you know, I guess if it was looking for, you know, a change in the way we do the budget, maybe, you know, John might be the way to go. You know, Edward, or Ted, he kept saying, corrected us, it's Ted. Also had a strong background. I didn't think, I don't know, I came across that maybe Ed was nervous, or Ted was a little bit more nervous than the other 3. Nick Riccio, I knew Nick a little bit, and he impressed me. Just a side of Nick that I had, he just came across so confident, so knowledgeable, certainly having worked here and in a neighboring community, and knowing all the players helps quite a bit. But I thought Nick did a great job. Christopher, you know, we don't really have enough time to really ruminate about Christopher. We only talked about him, he only interviewed with us an hour ago. But I thought, you know, he was good. He was gregarious. He was outgoing. I think some of the questions, though, Chris did took like sort of a right-hand turn sometimes with some of the questions, didn't really, especially, shoot, I'm sorry, with strategy and stabilization and things like that. I thought he took a sort of a little bit of a right-hand turn, but, those are my just gut thoughts real quickly on the forum.
I'll go. Okay. I wasn't sure if Cecil's going to go, me.
I'm good.
I know, you can tell none of us are like, me. Yeah, I mean, I guess I was hoping that just somebody was going to like really rise to the top and that it would be an easy decision, but it really isn't. We have 4 really great candidates, like Doc said. The screening committee with Bernie's help did a fabulous job bringing us some very good people. I think maybe I'll kind of do what Dennis did. I'll just start with each one and a couple of quick thoughts. So first we spoke with John. Don't want to repeat what was said, but yeah, I mean, in my head, I was like similar size and characteristics of the community he was coming from. Things that were important, very important to Dennis. We all have something that we were looking for. The collective bargaining, lots of accomplishments. There was one thing he said that came across as a little strange to me, and I don't know if anyone else caught it or if it just, I think when he was talking about something they had done as a community, he said, he goes, it gave me an opportunity to spend some time with my police chief and my fire chief. And as he said it, did anybody else catch that? I immediately thought that, Bill has such a one-on-one with our chiefs, and now hindsight, I probably shouldn't hold that against him. Maybe I misunderstood how he said it. Maybe I should have come right out and asked then.
You mean like on a personal level, like you got to hang out and like?
Well, I wasn't
shoot the
sure. He
ball?
kind of said, he was talking about, the relationships with his department heads, and he's kind of said, some people I don't really get to spend as much time with. Maybe it was just me. If nobody else is really recalling it, maybe I just misunderstood how he said it. It just was a little strange to me because I was thinking, I'm like, to me, those would have been the 2 that would have stood out the most, that your public safety, that you might have, had a, maybe because I know what the relationship they have right now with Bill, our existing town manager. So maybe I misunderstood it. Not anything real negative. I just didn't know if anybody else picked up on that. I thought it was a little bit strange. Ted, I was very impressed with Ted. Looking at his resume, I was thinking, he's coming from a much bigger community, huge budget compared to ours, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to see the fit. But some of the things that to me stood out was his, he already has connections at the State House because he had been there before. Not that we don't have, we reach out to our rep and senator, frequently, so not that we needed that, but it was a little something that nobody else necessarily brought to the table other than him. Which I was just thinking, like Dennis said, a lot of resources. So I didn't get that he wanted to come in and change anything so much as Dennis said, but maybe, like I said, something he said triggered that with Dennis. I didn't, when Dennis said it, I just didn't come into my head at all, but it really isn't easy. As far as Nick goes, I too, I don't know, I didn't know Nick real well. Of course, I had met, Nick had come before the advisory committee when he came into town, so of course, I had met Nick, heard great things about Nick, seemed like a stand-up guy. He did answer the questions very thoughtfully, and I was impressed. I feel like he knows the community, that he would be a good fit. The only thing is, it's hard for me to look at some of the other candidates' experience as a town manager. And so I would say that would be the only thing I'm a little nervous about Nick. I mean, I know he did acting town manager in Mansfield, but I'm just not sure if his experience is going to be enough for this position. But I was very impressed with him. So, and for Chris, for me, he was very easy to listen to, seemed like a great personality, seemed like he loves the community he's in now, and I felt like he would love our community equally. Just seemed like maybe that's his personality. I felt like he was excited about maybe this being the next step in his career. And the only other thing I want to backtrack a little bit. I was impressed that Ted said, he wasn't looking, but somebody brought our post to his attention, and, that he kind of came in right under the wire. And so that to me was kind of like I felt like he felt like he could see himself here. And so anyhow, I don't even know if I brought, I don't know if I brought anything more. I'll be honest, quickly, and if the rest of the board doesn't have the same feeling as me, that will be fine. Like in my head, I feel like I'm writing down what everybody said, not just so I don't have my notes, what everybody's thoughts were. And we'll see how it plays out after Leah and Seth, come in. And if everybody feels like they're ready to decide, I don't feel that right now. Maybe something you guys say will trigger me. I was kind of hoping that maybe, and I don't know, maybe tomorrow night, 24 hours isn't going to make a big deal, but I thought maybe for me, I might just kind of go back, look at my notes, and revisit it with everybody else's feelings, and maybe that would help me. I'm not sure. This is a tough decision. I know we're all saying that, but anyhow, that's what I have to offer right now. Maybe as we talk more after, something else will come to me, but it's tough. It's really tough.
My
You
turn?
guys gonna buck up, or?
You want to go? You want me to go? It doesn't matter.
Either way.
Okay. I'll
Sure.
save mine for last as the chair. I'll
Okay,
sit back
yeah,
and
no,
wait.
that works for me. I appreciate all the candidates. I think they all did well. They all bring a unique skill set with them to to this opportunity. If we talk about what we had talked about, I think we had thought about, and I'd heard from people in town, is that the town manager experience, or the experience as a town manager, was important to people. Because they understood that this was a unique and challenging job with what Foxborough has to offer and what we have to work with. And so if we're talking about town manager experience, it's John and it's Chris. So those two have the experience. They've both been doing their job successfully for a good number of years, 9 and 14 years in their current roles. And so I feel like I have to take a little bit of a different approach here than maybe you mentioned, Leah, but as far as the other skills and the skill set that I think are important, I feel like John for me, has risen to the top, John Coder. As far as he has the experience, he has his skill set, feels like it's a strong match for our town. He was, in my opinion, the most poised and polished in answering questions. His responses to the interview questions were clear and concise. He answered thoughtfully and succinctly, I thought, with really relevant examples. He had really strong examples as well of accomplishments in Northborough. I feel like I said, 14 years in his current role. So if this works out here, I feel like he's here for the long haul. He doesn't bounce around. And he was, I think other candidates mentioned it or hinted at it. He was the one who, after speaking with us, said basically, explicitly, I want this job. I would like to do this job for the town. So he advocated for himself. And then the last thing I would point out from John's perspective is my only possible reservation with John Coderre is we have a strong town manager system. If he's too strong of a town manager, in other words, has challenges acclimating to our culture and our approach here in Foxborough. I don't anticipate that. I'm just pointing out one possible, because he has the experience already, so coming in, if there was a challenge acclimating, as I mentioned. The other candidates had strong experience and brought a lot to the table in their own right, but for me, it's John is the top candidate in my mind.
All right, great. Want me to kind of give you mine? Okay, so I'm not going to go over everything else everyone has said, because I kind of agree with the points that everyone has made. Going through, I agree with, I'm going to kind of go through each. Starting with John, I agree that I think he can do a great job here. Some things that really stuck out, not only with him, but with all the candidates, I think, did all of them say that this is, they're not like in Bernie's, pile all the time, like they're really interested in applying for this position?
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. So, we have 4 really great candidates who can all do the job. So to me, I think kind of cultural fit is kind of what I'm looking at. So we said in a couple different interviews, we have really great department heads. Kind of like Dennis, what you said, I don't think we're looking for anyone to come in here and be a change agent. Obviously, there's always tweaks and things that you can do, but really, someone who can be the best cultural fit and let those department heads fly while tweaking and making things a little bit better is really what we're looking for right now. So John, I have written down a couple times, he mentioned trust. He's very data-driven. He looks to build consensus. I mean, here's the word trust again, honesty, all those things are seem to be what he stands for. No surprises, integrity, trust. And I really liked his question. So we turned to each candidate at the end and asked them if they have any questions. And I really liked John's question of what are our priorities for the new town manager. So I really found his question to be thoughtful and already even moving in the right direction. My only worry is, when you're almost too data-driven, it can be a little bit of an analysis paralysis. And we have a really strong finance department, which can be seen by, where we're at. Even we talked about getting the financial monitoring implemented. I was actually a little surprised at the summit how quick that happened. So I'm a little bit worried there about, not intentionally, but maybe stepping on toes or being able to kind of give that level of kind of control up. So that is my one kind of cultural, comment I'll make there. Moving on to Ted, I liked that he said that the position statement was almost written for him. He does come from a little bit of a different type of local government. So I think that, maybe that'll be a challenge for him because he's been working with the mayor for so long in different roles. But again, someone who can really do the job. I love the state connections that he has, the negotiating background that he had. He was definitely at the table. He was able to go into some real details there. The bond rating's great. He's worked on some really big projects as well, like the library and the school. So I think he'd be great with those. The medical piece, he definitely has dealt with some big businesses as well. So
Can I add something just?
Yeah, of
Because you're
course.
talking about Ted,
Yes,
it
of
just
course.
popped in my head. One thing he did say also was that he's not afraid to say no. As far as, I think it might have been in discussing, he said that the employees were the heart of the organization, and he was not afraid to compensate because he wants them to feel appreciated, but yet, you also have to look at what the finances are. So not to come in, but it
Yep.
popped in my head as you're talking about him, so I just want to kind of add
Yeah, and he said he's
that.
not afraid to say when he doesn't know something too,
Yeah.
collaborative, so.
Yeah.
Again, I think, another great candidate, looking at the cultural fit, the type of government and the size, is kind of the question. Nick, again, like Stephanie, he was here during the beginning of my term, but, in our role, I really didn't work with him that much or know him, and I was really surprised. He surprised me. He did really well, and I did talk to a number of different people in town and department heads, and he's a really well-liked guy. I mean, everyone is, obviously, by what's in here, but, it's a little bit different when you're talking to people, that know them, or, someone who dealt with them through a personal issue. Everyone kind of said that he's really a nice guy to work with. I like that he has a law degree. He, when they had asked us what's our priorities, looking at the town charter was one. I think that's a big one. We didn't feel like the time was right to do that, having a new town manager come on board. But I think that's something that we really want to dig into in the next few years, or the next year, and it will be a big project. And I think that his law degree will be helpful there. He said something that tied it to it even during his interview. I can't find my note right now, but no bad relationships, works for the board. I just really feel like he's going to be a team player, not going to be a change agent. So he felt like a really great cultural fit for me.
He was the only one that we even talked about the charter.
Was it? Yeah, was
I
it? Yeah.
think it happened to come up
Okay,
with
okay.
something, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again, but like Steph said, on paper, definitely, hasn't been a town manager before. It's just a matter of, can he do it? And then Chris, again, also has that law degree, which I think will come in handy in some pieces. Again, the leadership, great leadership style. I liked how it seemed like he had really done a lot of research about the community, and when he talked, like, it almost felt like he was from here. Like, he had clearly really done a lot of research, using the right terms, talking about Route 1, talking about Uptown.
When he said
uptown.
uptown, I thought in my head, I was like, oh, Leah's gonna love that one.
Yeah, I mean,
uptown.
it really felt like he wanted to be here, and he had really done his research. The only thing is, it seems like he hasn't worked on some of the bigger, like, capital projects, like the new school. So that was, just one thing that stood out to me. I loved what he said about performance evaluations. It's almost like.
I was scaring some people, trust me.
Yeah, I'm sure I was scaring some people, but he was willing to, like, kind of go off the beaten path a little bit in the municipal world with what he was talking about. So, I found that really interesting to hear. So I'm just looking at my notes, I think, again, another strong candidate. So, any other discussion on the candidates or amongst each other? Do we want to take motions tonight? Do we want to sleep on this and meet again tomorrow?
There's one more thing I want to bring up now that, we're
Yeah,
talking
yep.
about it and it's coming up. And I think, although Nick might not have the, a long-term town manager position, he does have, working in this community, with senior staff already. So I think a transition, I don't think we should necessarily hold it against Nick, him not having the town manager experience, because he does have the town experience.
And when he, now that you say that, like, when he did go into Mansfield, he told us it was not an easy job to step into. Like, he was not afraid to roll up his sleeves. It wasn't all, peachy keen.
When it was the temp.
Yeah, when he was the interim over there, that definitely sounds like it was a difficult job, and it seems like it wasn't like a couple months. He did that for a while.
It was like 9
It
months.
was a year and a half,
Yeah, I
right?
think it was a year and a half, so
About a year, yeah.
it struck me as being longer than your typical interim town manager, yeah, 2008 to 2009.
A year, yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't like 2-3 months though, right? Right.
And I think the other point I want to bring up is, you know, with I think your thought on the last two having law degrees, I think is huge. Those of us that, I think we all got a letter early in the process from, you know, someone in the town that's very engaged, and part of that letter said, you know, someone with a law degree would certainly be a plus. And I don't think they're necessarily wrong with that, knowing the direction we want to go in with a town charter.
No, you know something, and same thing, I'm gonna start out with saying, like everybody, Nick did a bang-up job. He has jumped around a little bit, though. So, and I'm not saying maybe his last stop as a town manager somewhere is his goal, and you know, but I did notice when I was looking at his resume, you know, he jumps around a little bit, and so I definitely feel like, I mean, you can never guarantee how long somebody's going to stay here. You know, something better may come their way, and they may move on. But I'm hoping who ends up here, you know, this is it for a while for them. You know, but yeah, and you know what? It just may be. If I think maybe if. I'm saying he hopped around a little bit because he has hopped around a little bit, but yet I don't feel like he was hopping around from town manager job to town manager job. So maybe that was a goal of his to
Career
eventually.
opportunities.
Yeah, you know. So yes, I mean, different you know.
And he wasn't Mansfield, not to
occupations.
interrupt you, just
Yeah.
now looking, he was in Mansfield for a long time. He was there for 12 years.
Yeah.
It may look a little jumpy just because
Yeah.
there's the job in there.
Yeah.
Between, yeah, I think there's 3 jobs listed at Mansfield.
Yeah, a lot of time in Mansfield,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and back and forth with Foxborough and Mansfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the only thing I would add is, you know, I had a John and Ted. But the thing with Ted, and I just want to modify something you said, Stephanie, I don't think he would come in here like a bull in a china shop looking for change. I just think if you're a change agent, it's in your DNA.
Okay.
You just naturally are that way, you know, which is not a bad thing. It's like, you know, getting out of bed every morning and say, what can I do to improve the organization today? I mean, that's a mindset, and I've seen people with that mindset. But is that mindset required, and is that mindset gonna, you know, rock the boat more than we want it to rock the boat? The other thing, I would say somebody was, you know, maybe worried about John, and was he too strong? And I think I can say this, you know, my opinion coming in, this is a strong board. No one's gonna, you know, fall over this board. You know, I don't care how strong he is. Bill's strong, you know, so, I mean,
Yeah, and I think we're strong. I think it's more like day-to-day town, like we're not here, you know, day-to-day town hall in the weeds
right,
kind
no,
of
but
stuff.
it's just the, you know, the personalities and the depth of commitment and all of that is very, very strong. And no one's gonna come in and bowl over the mission and the vision and the values of this board, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, the town manager technically works for the Board of Selectmen, so.
Not even technically, I don't think.
Well, they do, I guess, I know I'm saying technically, but, so it works for the Board of Selectmen, and in fact, we, you know, we're supposed to be working for the residents, you know, for the people who live here. I think maybe, I don't wanna speak, but when you said strong, did you feel like strong, on like day-to-day with the employees of the town? Is that what you meant a little bit? That maybe it was a little too strong personality? I
No,
don't wanna speak to you.
not strong personality,
Okay.
like almost a little too rigid or data-driven. Like, like Chris said, in this job, you can be as data-driven as you want, but like your day sometimes is out of control, or you have to be able to bend and flex kind of quick.
Okay.
So, like, you wouldn't want it to get
Yeah,
in the
okay.
way. It's a delicate balance.
So I guess the big question here is, have we helped each other? Are we any closer? I'm still, I don't know, like, I feel like if I voted now, I might vote for one, 10 minutes from now, I might vote for somebody else. I mean, is anybody else here, like, truly just ready to vote? I mean,
Yeah, that goes without saying.
yeah,
I'm ready to.
Yeah, okay. Do we have a motion for one of the candidates then?
well, are we
Dennis.
gonna motion to absolutely vote now?
Well, you
or-
had your hand up first.
or how-
Yeah, so I already made it clear who who I'm advocating for, or my top candidate is, and I just wanted to know if you had the same or different, or your thoughts, if you were willing to share who your top candidate is at this point.
If I'm reading you right, it's John.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Not by like miles, but yeah, I think he rose above the rest of the candidates. And I think he meets the current needs of the town better than the other candidates.
I would say least risk in terms of learning the job, learning what, understanding what we're trying to do. And I have the least reservations about John. They're all strong. They're all good people, I think. I think John will do the best job.
I don't. I mean, I think you do a fine job, but I'm stuck on the circle that I think you might be too much for the town. I really do. I think, he's a great candidate, but he might be over analytical, I don't think he would be the right fit for leading this town going forward. My opinion, I like, certainly the other three, but I like Nick. I think he would be a smoother transition. I think he would work best with the management staff. I think he's a good people person. And I'm going to throw, since you threw out yours, I'm going to throw out what my number one is. John might be number two. But right now, for me, for what I think the town needs and where we're at, I think Nick is a smoother transition.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say there's just a lot more risk with somebody without experience and somebody who was here and left. That doesn't make me feel great. I think Nick's a nice guy. But his experience is different than what I think we're looking for. I don't know that some of the things we're trying to implement, financial trend monitoring, it's, a lot of these initiatives, I think could be a challenge for him. I'm sure he could learn it. He could do fine, I think, given time. I just think the ability to do it now, to hit the ground running. I've had, my reservation is too strong, was just the only thing I could really think of. To Dennis's point, we have controls in place. We have a strong board here. We have a strong management team. We've communicated that to him, to John. It's understood, I think. And he's just looking for the next challenge. And I think I think that the fact that he's willing to do this I think we're lucky if we could get someone like of that caliber to step into the role.
Steph, do you have thoughts you want me to?
Why don't we go?
So for me, I'd say John and Nick have kind of risen to the top as well. And I think that they can both hit the ground running in different ways. So I think, John's gonna hit the ground running. He's got the experience. He's strong. Again, no real reservations. Everything I've written down in my notes is just fabulous. And then I think Nick, will have a little bit more to get up to speed on some of the strengths that John has. But I think, culturally, he'll hit the ground running. I think whoever we pick, well, we can't guarantee that stay. We'd really want them to stay for like 7 to 8 years, hopefully at minimum. No one wants to be back here within a year or two. So definitely a tough decision, but I'm still kind of going back and forth as well.
Well, right, because, as Seth said, with John Strong, with the budget, I'm still leaning towards, Nick with the law degree with, the charter.
Yeah.
And really, I would put the charter a little bit more in advance to the budget, because the budget is smooth, and second of all, I think Maria,
Marie.
I always say, I've been doing it for as long as she's been here, and it's one of those things you can't get out of your head now. I think Marie had a good understanding of that, so I don't think we lose anything with the budget process.
Yeah, I have full faith in Marie and George with the budget. I think they've done great things. Just seeing what they implemented, I was really impressed. So
We're in and out of there in 30 minutes.
yeah, so I think I said to all the candidates, we've got a great team. We want to let them fly. And some of the items that Nick said, just on his closing, kind of went right along those lines, that he realized that, and is looking to be a support, but not looking to be a change agent,
Yeah, as far as the charter and the special acts, I think we're gonna have more input than the town manager is, actually. I think that's more in our realm. Town manager can support that process, but we're the ones who are, we're the policy board. So we're creating that policy. Town manager can support that. And we have lawyers that can guide us. So, the criticality of a lawyer as a town manager is, I suppose it's nice, it's a nice to have. I think the budget and our financial trend monitoring and the budget presentation that we could potentially develop here with the award-winning budget presentation that he's shown that he can do, he's done it, and he's maintained that award-winning budget year after year as the criteria changed, was updated. So proven track record of success with significant development projects in town that John was led. So I just think that it's the total package that's available right now.
I just want to say a word about the financial part. The budget here is done extremely well, and very talented people here. But the budget process could be improved. Once upon a time, I was a CFO. I have an MBA. I think the budget here could be improved. And I think being metric-driven, I think, is a positive.
I agree.
Because you really need those metrics, really, because that'll tell you the trends, that are going on before you even know it, because the data will be there and it'll show a trend before you might, be ready to pick up on something that's going on. So I just want to support the financial part of this. I was very impressed with Nick. I said that. He surprised me, just the same words you used. But if I had to, I'm not coming at this in any way that, who's the least risky. That's not who I am. It's really who's, to me, the best candidate out of the group.
Yeah,
I've never heard you be so quiet. No, go ahead, Seth.
I was just going to address, so I understand what your point on risk. Dennis, I guess I was just using risk as low risk for an established candidate versus significantly more risk for somebody who's, would be doing this job for the first time and getting their feet wet for the first time. So, but point taken.
Yeah, and I don't think that you can say that there's a, like, just like you can't say there's a risk there, you can't really say that for Nick either, because he does have a different foundation. You know, it's two different foundations, that they have.
Well, I'm going to tell you, of course, I kind of liked Ted, okay? But with that being said, I'm not hearing his name rise to the top. So in my head, I'm going to Plan B or Plan C, just to, you know what I mean? Because, I think everyone said, okay, he was a great candidate, but doesn't seem like he's rising to the top for anybody else. So in my head now I'm saying, okay, Steph, go to Plan B, go to Plan C. So, I like Nick a lot, and I liked everything he said. I am struggling a little bit with his experience, and I don't know. I mean, is anybody? I know it'd be nice if we just voted tonight and it was done. I think right now it doesn't seem like we're going to vote unanimous, or if somebody someone says, okay, I mean, I think we're all saying, Nick was great, John, it seems like Nick and John, you did throw Chris in there, and I did like Chris a lot too, but nobody else was really putting Chris at the top, and I think for you, it's very clear John is number one.
Yeah, I mean, Chris may be my second,
Yeah.
just with his experience.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I mean, is anybody willing to come back tomorrow night, and so we can maybe think about it a little bit more, or does everyone just like, listen, it is what it is, and wants to go ahead and vote right now? I know, I'm not, you know me, I'm never this wishy-washy, like usually,
If we
I
can
come with an
make a
opinion
decision,
and it's full
I'd rather
force,
make a
but,
decision. Yeah.
I don't know, what do you think, Leah? You're our leader,
Yeah, I think this is all great discussion. I think I'll have the same challenge I would tomorrow that I would have today, quite frankly. I think that we have a really, really tough decision to make, and both have, different pluses and minuses, and I don't know that anything will be different about that in 24 hours than is right now,
Okay,
for me.
okay.
Dennis, you'd like you to say something?
No, I think, I agree with that.
All right, do we want to
I
take,
mean, we're not going to be unanimous. It doesn't sound like, it would be nice to be unanimous. It's always nice to be unanimous, but it doesn't look like that's in the cards, so I don't think that's going to change overnight.
do we want to take motions then? Maybe take a motion for each, take votes and see where we're at, and then, maybe after that, we can have another discussion, and maybe we can have a unanimous vote to appoint someone.
You mean do a straw poll first?
Yeah,
So
straw
we're
poll, or
saying-
actually, yeah, straw poll?
You can do
Okay.
that.
Okay. Looking at Bernie for what's the best way when you get yourself in a corner with a really tough decision.
Well, in a straw poll, I'd vote for Nick.
Oh, we're all going to go around?
I don't know.
Let's just go
but that's
straight
just-
down. Let's
Yeah, I
just go
go for John.
I'm having a tough time. I think I would vote for Nick.
Oh, mother, oh,
That's it.
Well, you never know where Seth's going.
well, because it's just landed on me that I am going to be the deciding vote, based on knowing where he's going. Oh, God. Seth, you vote first and then come right back to me. I know what your vote is.
Clearly,
Who are you picking, Seth?
Clearly, John. I mean, it's not close for me.
Okay,
It's just a straw poll.
Yeah, it's just a straw.
okay. Because I might change my mind when we do the real vote, so don't yell at me. I literally, it's a coin flip for me.
So could you speak to some of the challenges you're having? Like what are the?
I'm with Steph too, like, I really think that there's different foundations.
Well, this is the thing. I'm struggling with Nick's experience, but I love his fit here. I don't think that's surprising to anybody. That's where I am.
Is his fit because he knows people?
It's not that he knows people,
I
though,
mean-
Seth, it's, he's worked with people here in town. He's
Yeah.
been a part of the management team. He's, he's worked with all the players.
That's, okay. I don't see as much value in that as maybe others are seeing. I mean, I think it's good to know people, but you get to know people over time. I'm struggling with that.
Well,
All right, my
But-
straw,
but the-
my straw poll is John.
Okay.
but my concern would be with John is too strong a personality.
Yeah, I get that, Doc. Yeah. That risk is low on my list, but I understand that completely. I appreciate that.
All right, so we ready for a motion and a vote?
Use the language that we.
Yep, Dennis, you've got the language for motion. You're the clerk.
You're the motion guy.
Oh, I'm the clerk. All right, where are we here? Okay. Should I insert, well, we have to,
No, I think that you updated it, right, Christina, so this is all good to
Not
go?
put the name, but it's updated.
No, but yeah, the whole,
one,
you just have
yes.
to put the name in.
right, we have to take the vote to put the name in, right?
Right, yeah.
No, we don't have to vote, he just puts in a name and
Well,
we'll
we just
vote.
did a straw poll, so I think.
Right, so you
that-
just
yeah.
put your name into the motion that we.
Put the name into the
Okay.
motion.
Right. Okay, motion to appoint John Kadir as town manager, subject to a negotiated contract, and to appoint the select board chair and town labor council to begin negotiations with the selected town manager.
Seth, I'll let you second it.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? And again, I will vote for this without hesitation. So this was really tough, a really, really tough decision.
I'm shaking right now.
No, but I mean, really, I truly, this was a really tough decision for absolutely excellent candidates. We would be lucky to have any four of these people. Any other discussion for anyone else?
I wasn't being facetious. I'm literally like, it's a big deal.
No, right, yeah, no, I mean, really, I hope everyone at home knows how serious we take this and really, what a tough position it is, and I'm sure people will have stuff to say either way. It's tough. It's not for the thin-skinned, that's for sure. All right, so with that, all those in favor?
I'll make it unanimous.
Okay, all right, wonderful. All right, so we have our new town manager. We will next begin negotiations, which will take place over, hopefully the next week, maybe a little bit more than that. And then at that point, we do have to get through that, and then we would have a new town manager. So this is really exciting news. I'm sure Bill is excited. I don't know if anyone saw the next item on our agenda is his official retirement, not to waste any time.
That's why he's smiling.
Wait a minute.
Right? No, so we'll take a minute, we'll thank Bernie. Bernie has spent countless hours, again, has been such a great, partner through this whole process. I'm sure the screening committee would agree. I'm sure all the applicants would agree. It's really been a great process, so I can't recommend you highly enough to anyone else looking for help and guidance through this difficult process and decision.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, and with this, again, you had a great screening committee, working with the staff, Christina in particular, has been very helpful. But it's, I think that it has been a tough decision for you because you did have such good candidates, and I'm sure, your pick has some very big shoes to fill. I'll leave by just saying that I've known Bill for decades, and he's been an outstanding manager here in the Commonwealth, and those in the profession will certainly miss his voice as one of the managers of the wonderful communities here in the state. And it's been a pleasure working with you, Bill.
Thank you, Brian.
It's been a pleasure working with the board. I'm not gone completely.
Yep, more to
I kn-
come.
You have my phone number, and I know we'll be talking as we go through the negotiation
Yes.
period, but I will
Thank you to the
let
other,
everyone know.
3 candidates, finalists, for their time
Good job, Jeff.
as well. All going fabulous places, and, any community's lucky to have them as well.
So that being said, I was just kidding, I'm not resigning.
Wasn't it fun to watch?
All right, Bernie, get out of here, get home. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie.
All right, and because it is a public process, we will be all handing our packets in to Christina, go to Liz in HR, just as a reminder. So with that, we're now officially behind schedule. Not too bad, a half an hour for a board that likes to chat. So we'll move right into town manager's update.
So, as you did mention, Madam Chair, it is my opportunity now to present you my official resignation to retire from service as town manager letter. So I'll just read it into the record so that you all can hear it. Dear Ms. Gibson and honorable board chairs, honorable board members, please accept this letter as my formal notification to the board that I will be retiring as town manager for the town of Foxborough on January 27th, 2023. I write this letter with mixed emotions on this, as it has been a very fulfilling and greatly satisfying experience for me both personally and professionally. It is hard to believe that when I woke up this morning, I realized that the day had suddenly arrived when I would have to write this letter. Nearly 40 years of municipal service has gone by, and faster than you would think. I can remember when I first arrived on my first tour of duty in Millbury, Massachusetts, as their town planner with a very green background, and the ink of my master's degree still not dry. A lot of time and accomplishments and great relationships have occurred during the last four decades. Every one of those experiences, good or bad, has all served as a foundation for the work that we have accomplished here in Foxborough. So many great things have happened in Foxborough over the past several years, and none of it could have happened without the firm and steady commitment that you and all the boards, committees, and dedicated employees have given to this mission. I am proud of the work that we have all accomplished together. As I look back, I would like to think that the goal of shaping and making Foxborough a better place to work, live, and play has been accomplished. I am so grateful and appreciative of the confidence that you have all placed in me as your town manager. While I will be staying in the capacity of interim town manager until the transition has been finalized, I am not going to bid you all farewell just yet. Regardless, I still want to wish each of you and all of my friends and colleagues throughout the town and the very best of luck as you continue to navigate the waters of municipal government. It's not easy work that we do, but it is so important and critical to the quality of life for the citizens of this great community. Most appreciatively, William Keegan.
I still haven't faced the fact that you'll be retiring soon.
Neither have I, frankly.
Let's just forget the whole thing.
You went through a heck of a process, and that was tough to watch, I have to tell you. But it's sort of like an out-of-body experience watching it all happen. And congratulations, by the way. John's a great guy. I've known John a long time. I actually know all those candidates except for I didn't know the fellow from Weymouth, Ted from Weymouth. I'd never met. I may have met him, but I just don't recall meeting him. But they're all great candidates. You had a really difficult choice, and clearly it was one of these things where you really had to debate it long and hard to get to the point you didn't. And I'm glad you all reached the conclusion that you did. John, I think, is ready for a change. I think John's been in that position for a long time, and I think that he is clearly a highly talented and dedicated guy for the profession. Well, very much looked upon as being an expert when it comes to budgeting issues, and hopefully he can bring some knowledge and further suggestions on how we can continuously improve, as we've always been improving year after year. I do want to say and stress that, and I think you all mentioned it, that the finance department we have right now is tremendous. I think Marie and George do a terrific job and have brought huge changes, along with the foundation that we had, even going back to Randy Scollins, about the financial condition that we have here with the AAA bond rating and the balanced budgets that we've had year after year after year. So I do think that we have a great system in place. I think, always looking inward and outward to see what kind of changes we can bring to the table is a good thing. Let's see, hopefully that this will work out for everybody, and that it'll be an easy marriage as you guys go forward with this. And I'll always be available to you and to John for consultation or help in trying to navigate this change. And hopefully it'll go as smooth as we all hope it does. So with that, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have plenty more time to say it, though. You're not
Yeah, that's
gonna-
right.
So with that, though, you get to see all your colleagues on Friday and
I do.
Saturday.
I do.
That's our next item at the Massachusetts Municipal Association meeting.
Right. So that'll be the yeah, that'll be the culmination of a lot of things on this weekend. So I'll actually be attending on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday is the Maya board meeting, which is an all-day event for me, and then, but you all who've actually signed up for the event on Friday, which is a great event, by the way. I mean, it's a good opportunity to meet with other colleagues from around the state. You'll meet with, fellow board members, other town managers, finance directors, people that are experts in their own fields, and certainly long-term board members. And also, the new governor will be there, and the lieutenant governor will be there for the first time. So it'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting discussions and presentations that are all helpful to you as members of the Board of Selectmen. So that'll be culminating with, and I don't want to forget the fact that Foxborough is going to be recognized in the opening session for the Innovation Award that we received this year. So we'll be mentioned right out of the gate as one of the more innovative communities in Massachusetts. So it's always a great thing to be able to be recognized at that level. The special town meeting warrant review and senior Q&A is in the Town Hall Gala Room, will be held at 12:30 next Wednesday, January 25th. It'll be held right here in this room, and it'll be an opportunity for people to ask questions about the warrant prior to the town meeting. The town meeting, of course, will be held on January 30th, starting at 7:30 at the high school. Certainly encourage everybody to attend. It's 9 articles, so it shouldn't take a lot of time to get through it. Not a lot of controversy, hopefully, but I do think it's an important meeting that everybody should come to and participate in if you can make it that evening. Just a couple other things I want to mention is that in terms of some of the, we've been doing some work on recruitments and just more recently this past week, we learned that one of our assistant treasurer collector, Veronica Harvey, has been selected as the new treasurer collector for the town of Needham. So she'll be leaving us at the end of the month, and then we'll be starting that process to backfill her role, which is a very important position and one which is not easy to fill, by the way. I'll make note of that. But I do want to wish congratulations to Veronica for being selected. And it's actually an honor to all of us who had the opportunity to work with her, and to see her get promoted in that way is really a great thing for the organization and for her personally. So really glad for her and glad for the town of Needham that they're getting a very good and talented person for that role. And then Paula, our current treasurer, Paula is going to actually meet with George and Marie today to go over to select the collections coordinator finalist. I think they're in the process of trying to make that decision. I've not heard the result of that yet, so I'll certainly keep you posted on that. And the community response social worker interviews will be taking place on Friday with the public safety team, along with Mark Craig, to try and find a good candidate for that role. 2 new firefighters are replacing 2 firefighters, Kristen Nagabads and John Kopasics. He's actually retiring. They're both retiring at the end of the month. And the individuals that we have selected are Christopher McNamara, who is a firefighter paramedic, and Zachary Smith, also a firefighter paramedic. And one of those is a Foxborough resident who came up.
Smitty.
Yeah, Smith, yeah. So I wasn't quite sure. I always get the two of them confused. And one of them, the other one, is actually came up through our program, the Explorer program. Actually came up through that and has served and is going to move on and graduate into that role. So congratulations to both of those individuals as well. And that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
All right, great. So we only have a couple other quick things that I'm going to run through. We are seeking a new Southeastern Regional District representative. So I know school committee will be advertising that as well. With them, I think, taking the lead more than the Board of Selectmen, we have to also vote on it, but just wanted to advertise it here. Steve Udden has resigned from that position, and I know that Southeastern Regional is eager to get a new name. So they've emailed us a couple times about that. So PSA, if anyone's interested, reach out. We have a meeting on Monday, January 23rd, the stakeholders to the Central Street Veterans parking lot that's going to be at Station 1. So that's for the business owners uptown, trying to get everyone together, figure out dumpsters, figure out parking, get everyone to work together. So we've got an agenda for that. We've got a survey we'll have people take. That will be on Monday.
What time? I'm sorry, what
It's
time?
at 7 PM.
Okay.
And then maybe we should post that if we think we're gonna have a couple people attending that too, just to be safe.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Just while you're mentioning that too, if I get a chance, I happened to pop into South Street, I think it was Thursday night after I left here. George mentioned, at some point, are we putting those 10-minute parking signs up
Sorry,
there?
they should be. I know one's gone, just because I noticed one's gone in front of Primo's. They have one, but I imagine they probably have to order the 10-minute signs.
Oh, okay, because he happened to bring up that he's getting a lot of, and he's saying that they're heading over to Station 1. I'm sure he doesn't know exactly. They're parking there, the cars are, there. And I said to him, I said, listen, there's been a lot of discussion, and the board, Paige, planning, everybody is very mindful of the three businesses there that are mostly
Very
in
mindful.
and out.
And there's an entire parking lot out
Yeah.
back. I will tell you,
Yeah.
my kids eat Subway more than it's a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I never
Yeah.
pull up out front. I go around back, and there's a million spots, whether you're going to Sam's, whether you're going to South
Yeah.
Street. So I agree. But
Yeah.
we've all got to work together, and that's the tough part that I see. Is I'm not a business owner uptown, but I'm in all these meetings, and everyone wants the spots in front of their business, but it is public parking. We all have to work together. So please, if you're a business owner uptown and you have input, come to this meeting. We meet, Foxborough Common Business Collaborative meets every single month, and it's often
Yeah.
the same small group that are there, talking about things like parking, talking about dumpsters. So everyone's got to be involved if we want an uptown that works for everyone. We can't kind of be bystanders.
Yeah, and with that being said, like,
No.
he wasn't like,
No, I'm saying
but
this
I
is-
told
this is for
him,
all the
I said, yeah.
businesses, so.
I said, there's a lot of thought going into making things work for everybody, so.
A lot of
yeah,
thought, so
yeah.
please, everyone participate. We've already talked about the special town meeting reminder. The only thing, Bill, is your warrant review going to be taped and televised? I'm sorry if I missed, it is, Christina's nodding her head, okay, thank you. So people can catch that after. So with that, flying through Selectmen's update, anything else from the board?
Just one other quick thing. Somebody brought to my attention, and honest to God, I didn't even realize it. Somebody asked that there's, probably if they're looking at the agenda, I don't know where else they would be seeing it, that we're already referring to ourselves as Select Board. And I didn't even notice it myself. I'm just wondering if it's best, I don't think it's a big deal, but obviously we're going to town meeting to get approval. Maybe we should just leave Board of Selectmen there until.
Where is it, Stephanie?
Like on the agenda?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I
Well,
understand it,
Yeah.
but I thought we had talked at one point about using it informally. It really didn't go through on a technicality.
no, and I agree with
Yeah.
you. I just said I would ask. They just said, oh, how come everything says Select Board now? And I said, well, we're
Yeah.
hoping to be referred to as Select Board.
right.
And, but then.
Yeah, I don't think
yeah.
it's really controversial, so.
I think I just followed Leah's lead of, wanting to be informal and getting
Yeah,
it ready
well,
for, it's
it
easier to
doesn't matter.
implement it
I mean,
now than
I-
a little bit later
I
on,
mean,
so.
Yeah.
I just said I would pass it along, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and until it's approved, everything that you sign will be Board of Selectmen.
Yeah,
until it's
everything
approved,
formally is
so-
still
Yeah.
But we are able to formally refer to it.
So, nothing, yeah.
oh, sorry.
Okay.
Next thing. One thing I was thinking about was the plan for streets and sidewalks. If we could maybe add that to a future agenda. I was on Central Street. It's pretty banged up. I'm wondering where Central Street is on the plan, so.
I've seen you jogging a lot lately. So Seth is out there pounding that pavement out. I'm like, there he is jogging again.
Early
Yeah,
in the
mechanic.
morning? Early in the morning, yeah.
All
So
bundled
Seth,
up.
are you talking South Central Street down, which area? The one,
In between where it starts out as, before it turns and then up the hill.
after Dunkin' Donuts, and then up the hill?
Yeah, after Dunkin' Donuts heading north. starts to get pretty.
Yeah, so I've actually mentioned that to Chris. That's actually state highway, that section. So we're trying to get the state to repave that. I wanted to get them to do it this year.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it, so we think they're gonna do it in the spring.
Okay.
But I do have notes here of things I don't want to forget about, and pick up pavement management plan is definitely on the
Nice.
radar.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna be seeing the building permit fees soon, so,
Yeah.
you know, employee advisory committee, just to let you guys know some of the other things that I have.
That's a major that's a major thoroughfare into town, and it looks pretty
There's a
rough.
small section that's actually state highway there, so we have brought it to the state's attention, we're waiting for them to respond to it. And also, we do have a couple thoughts and ideas as to how to maybe get more bang for our buck out of the sidewalk and pavement program. So we've been talking about it internally as a way to approach it, so we'll be talking to you more about that.
Great.
And I do have one more question for Bill, too, if I could, through the chair. How about those flashing crossing lights? Are they coming in soon with the more traffic we have uptown?
I can ask that
And-
question.
They are on order, they are,
Oh, so they are on.
they are on
order.
order, we're just waiting for them to be, we're gonna
Okay.
talk about that on Monday.
Those are the solar lights,
Yeah,
right?
the,
So,
you're talking about for uptown?
Uptown, the ones where you hit a button and it flashes
Yep.
so that you can
Yeah,
walk
those are,
safely.
those are ordered, I know that for sure from
Okay.
talking with
Yeah,
Chris.
Chris,
Okay.
yeah, I knew I just didn't know when they were coming in. That's all.
Okay, fine.
I had asked, because someone had said like, oh, they'll begin like next week when Station 1 opened. I did ask Chris. I said, they're not coming in like next week, right? And he said, no. Actually, I think that was conversation was with Lance. So they're on order, but I don't think that they're ready to be, you know, installed now. But they're definitely on the way as fast as they can be. You know, but just a reminder to people too, use crosswalks. I can't tell you how many times I drive by and people, you know, are just zipping out in the dark. Even someone in town who we all know, who rides his bike around town during last night's snowstorm, was just going through the common, not on a crosswalk, and, you know, easily could have been hit. It was scary. So please, 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 everyone, use crosswalks. You know, we can mitigate as much as we can with lighting and flashing things, but everyone's going to follow the rules for safety of everyone and use those crosswalks. So with that, anything else before we move to action items and adjourn?
Go ahead, Dennis, yeah.
Motion to approve the Select Board minutes from December 6th, 2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And the 20th weren't posted, so we have.
Yeah, we'll just do that one.
Tonight.
Motion to approve the Select Board minutes from December 20th.
We're not taking that one.
When I take, no, that's draft, yeah, okay. All righty,
Just to the next one for the Christmas activities from,
right. Motion to accept a $310 donation for Christmas activities from Foxborough Animal Hospital.
Second.
and just to revise the motion on that one, it is going to recreation.
Recreation.
Yep, so, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everyone, good night.